Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, Somalia is now on a path to emerge from fragility. It is reasserting its sovereignty and taking both ownership and responsibility for its future. To do so, we have embarked on a political and social reconstruction process guided by the New Deal principles for fragile states agreed in Busan in 2011. A key milestone of this process is the adoption of a New Deal Compact, a joint partnership which provides a new political, security, and developmental framework that will help frame the future relations between Somalia, its people, and the international community. The social and economic situation of Somalia is showing signs of improvement, albeit incrementally, following over 2 decades of internal conflicts and absence of a functioning central government. The adoption of a provisional constitution, the establishment of a representative federal parliament, the election of a president, appointment of a prime minister, and a cabinet have renewed optimism on the future of Somalia and presented opportunities for greater peace and stability, reconstruction and development, and regional and international integration. The ministers created under this new federal government of Somalia are gradually taking responsibility of the social and economic reconstruction of the country. The potential is for the government ministers to grow their capacity further to manage, coordinate, provide oversight, and partner with non-governmental entities for the provision of effective and relevant social services. The Somali people, after 20 years of suffering, deserve this. There is, however, the need to address urgently the significant structural challenges, low institutional capacities, limited resources, and put in place regulatory framework and policies to be able to fulfill its mandate of state building and social services provision. A major limitation to economic growth is the poor state of infrastructure across Somalia. Owing to the long period of instability, there has been little investment in or maintenance of infrastructure, which is crucial for the expansion of domestic trade, services provision to population, access to markets, and employment creation. Therefore, it is crucial to support the rehabilitation of critical infrastructure, deliver quick early recovery projects, and to provide prioritized support to the productive sectors, specifically agriculture, livestock, and fisheries, which are identified as the main drivers of growth in the federal government's economic recovery plan, ERP. The Somali population needs to see and live this change. The Somali people need to see more effective institutions that are able to support the provision of basic public services. And one step towards achieving that is to have a robust public finance management systems and processes as establishment of the PFM and the development and implementation of revenue generation and collection policies and frameworks are fundamental to the macroeconomic policy for Somalia. So far, development partners and the private sector have played a leading role in the economy and have been instrumental in the provision of basic services such as education, health, and water, and employment creation, as well as partially filling a gap in the provision of infrastructure and management of key economic infrastructure. However, these services are generally concentrated in urban areas and do not cater for the needs of the rural areas and the most vulnerable, such as women and children. Excellencies and distinguished partners, service delivery plays an important role in building society's trust in the state and increasing the legitimacy of public institutions. It is therefore of utmost importance that the federal and regional governments play a large role in the provision of basic services such as education, health, and water. In terms of education, today in Somalia, 6 out of 10 children aged between 6 and 12 have never seen the inside of a classroom, never had the joy of discovering how to read, to write their name, and translate numbers into practical knowledge. never had the pride of a teacher telling them they have done well and encouraging them to do even better. Never have belonged to a school community where in that safe space they can learn to dream and believe in their potential. 2 generations have been lost, and the effects of that loss is evident around us. I believe that children and youth are the future of our country, and it is hope of salvation, hope of a brighter tomorrow, hopes of reconciliation, hopes of development and progress. We cannot afford to leave any child behind. This is why we launched the Go to School initiative on 8th of September 2013 in Mogadishu, Hargeisa, and Garowe. The proposition is to take 1 million young girls and boys into quality public education in the next 3 years. The launch marked the start of a new beginning, the start of a renewed era of hope, an era of giving our children a different avenue to those before them, an era where our children find enjoyment and laughter in the classrooms. These children are our future. They will heal our nation, and without education, we will not break from this devastating cycle we find ourselves locked into. The enemy of extremism is education, for barbaric reasoning and brutality cannot overcome an enlightened mind. Drones and armies cannot overcome a mindset or ideologies. Only through the classroom and through initiatives like Go to School do we limit the resource pool available to extremist recruiters and eventually defeat this evil. Ultimately, a better educated Somalia is a safer Somalia. Ladies and gentlemen, besides expanding access to quality primary education, Go to School initiative also focuses on positive alternatives such as the provision of vocational education, skills development and employment, and internship promotion for the youth. As we all know, Somalia's large young population suffers from extreme rates of unemployment, which is sometimes as high as 80%. Youth are the major actors in conflict, constituting the bulk of the participants in militias and criminal gangs. Skills development and employment opportunities for these young people is a top priority in the whole Somalia, as it is crucial for conflict reduction and fighting extremism. Therefore, building the capacity of institutions that offer skills development and training for young people is pivotal. Ladies and gentlemen, let us move on to the health sector. Over the last 2 decades, the health system collapsed across many parts of the country, and the combination of insecurity, drought, and famine have caused huge population displacement and resulted in our population having some of the worst health indices in the world, in particular for maternal and child mortality rates. Fortunately, the new political developments and improving security across the country now provides an opportunity for rebuilding our health system. The new National Health Sector Strategic Plan is fully owned by the federal government and sets out an ambitious agenda for rebuilding the health sector across Somalia. As part of the National Health Sector Strategic Planning, the Essential Package of Health Services, EPHS program, where we begin to roll out the basic health services, is piloting in several regions of Somalia. The EPHS consists of 4 levels of service provision, 10 health programs, and 6 management components. The essential package will be implemented across the 4 levels of service provision, which are the primary health unit, the health center, the referral health center, and finally, the hospital. With coordinated international support, we hope to be able to expand these to all regions in Somalia. Also in the health sector, we have adopted the Joint Health and Nutrition Program, which particularly aims at improving maternal and child health. and reducing mortality, while strengthening systems that support improved quality and access to health care. The Joint Health and Nutrition Program supports the Somali health sector in improving governance and leadership, developing the health workforce, delivery of health care, and improving access to medicines, vaccines, and technology at all levels of the health sector. Ladies and gentlemen, now let us move on gender. I think we all agree that addressing gender inequality is also crucial for recovery, sustainable peace and development. We need to ensure equitable participation of women, youth, and other marginalized groups in the national political and development process. We have to respond directly to the acute challenges contributing to the sustained gender disparities across multiple sectors. We should also respond to the serious high rate of GBV in the country, including the total eradication of FGM. These aspects are some of the priorities of the draft national gender policy. Moving on to the issue of water, as we are all aware of, access to safe water is a significant problem in Somalia, owing to poor maintenance of facilities and inadequate investment. In rural areas, only surface water is accessible, but it is often contaminated. In urban areas, reticulated water is available, but on a limited basis and usually managed by the private sector. It is therefore imperative to expand basic water sanitation and hygiene to all regions within federal and regional government service delivery frameworks. Ladies and gentlemen, in terms of natural resources, Somalia is endowed with many natural resources which remain untapped and could also be a source of renewed conflict if not properly addressed and managed. There is a need to set up legal and regulatory frameworks to ensure sustainable environmental and natural resource management, to develop technical options for natural resource revenue sharing, and to build the capacity of key natural resource management institutions. Excellencies and distinguished participants, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and the federal government of Somalia has embarked on this journey. With the help of our international partners, we shall strive to set the foundations for achieving a more stable, secure, and equitable Somalia. A Somalia that is united, peaceful, at peace with itself, its neighbors, and the rest of the world. A Somalia where the rule of law is respected, human rights are upheld, and is on the path of economic and human development. A Somalia where every child is in a safe and secure learning environment with full access to quality education and universal health care. A Somalia that is not in the aid basket, but a Somalia that is utilizing its many resources equally and fairly. A Somalia that is a productive member of the community of nations. That is the Somalia we all want to see. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. The next speaker is Christian Friis-Bach, Minister of Development Cooperation of Denmark, and also co-chair for the International Dialogue on Peace and State Building. Please.